welcome to Real Talk with Sean, everybody. This afternoon, or evening rather, I'm sorry, I have the pleasure of speaking with Sarah, who is a burn survivor. Thank you so much for joining me this evening, Sarah. I really appreciate you for accepting my invite.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. Before I even go into my first question, I have to let you know how strong of a woman I think you are to
Yeah.
do what you've gone through. You're choosing to share your story with the world and let others know who may have gone through what you've gone through or may not, just to let them know that, there's still life here.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Of course, you're very welcome. Tell us the story of what actually happened to you.
All right. So March 22nd, actually March 23rd. March 23rd, 2022, I was in a car accident. Basically, I was a passenger in my friend's car, and a drunk driver had hit the car from behind. He was speeding and he was high, and he was going um way above the speeding limit and crashed into the car, and that led the car to explode. 49% of my body was burned. All 10 of my fingers were amputated. Unfortunately, my friend that was driving, she didn't make it. She was far too gone in the fire. Our doors were burned shut, and we were stuck in the seatbelt, but they managed to like break the back window and pull us out. Well, they pulled me out first because there was less fire on my side, and then by the time they went to go get my friend, it was too late. Like the fire was just all over the car. So that's basically what happened with the where I am here today. But I was hospitalized for 7 months. For the first 3 months, I was in induced coma. I had a ventilator. I had a tracheotomy up my throat. I was in a feeding tube. I was able to talk, walk, eat, use the washroom. None of that. So that's
Wow.
basically, yeah.
So do
Came
you,
a long way.
yeah, you have. I mean, 7 months. So I mean,
Yeah.
that's you definitely have come a long way. Do you even remember, like I know you remember the actual, impact, but do you remember anything other than that? Like, do you remember going through the fire?
The crazy part, and like when I spoke to my therapist and stuff, it's like this is like a common thing, especially when like you're in that moment and also you've been in a coma where like you kind of blur certain moments that happen.
Yeah.
But I remember like the morning, afternoon leading up to it, but like the whole incident being burnt alive, I didn't really remember that until like bits and pieces were told by like friends and family because it was on the school campus. I was going to school, Albany State University, which is in Albany, Georgia, and I was studying psychology.
Mhm.
And when like people were telling me, and I also seen videos, and it was on Facebook and stuff. So I just put pieces together, and from like police reports and like the firefighters that was there, like they told my parents, and then from there, like bits and pieces started to come to me. But like the accident, me being in a fire, not really. But like, yeah, it's not something you want to relive or like remember, but it tends to happen in these type of cases
Of
that
course.
like you forget exactly that moment, but like you remember bits and pieces before and after, but not really in that moment though.
I completely understand that. So, with that being said, like, how does that make you feel to have that moment in life? Again, I haven't been through it, so I completely can't not understand because I haven't been through it, but I can imagine how it may feel not wanting to remember that. But I also, on the flip side, can imagine not remembering that piece of life that can be tragic within itself just to try and piece those pieces together. How did that make you feel to not even remember what happened?
It's like a 50-50 feeling. Like I feel relieved in a sense because I know with that, not like that whole incident came with a lot of pain, loss, trauma. So like that piece is like not that like it's gone, but like there's a lot of things that came with it. So I'm kind of glad that like I don't remember like the pain or like the fire itself burning my skin, because I pretty sure, like, I could just imagine like someone remembering and going through like the traumatic experience.
Yeah.
But like I did have other things that made it a traumatic experience. So like in a sense, like I'm glad like I don't really remember me being burned alive, but at the
Yeah,
same time, like other things like kind of like override it.
I
Because
completely
like I live in the hospital for 7 months. So it's like seven, quote unquote, 7 months of my life being taken away because I had to get the care and treatment needed in order to survive.
I completely can understand that.
So it's
So
kind of like feeling.
no, I completely understand that. Yeah, I get it. So when you woke up from, because you were in a coma, correct?
Yes, they put me in a coma.
So that you were in an induced coma.
Yes.
Okay. So when you come out, when you came out of the coma, how did you feel after you came out of the coma and now the story is being told, and I can imagine, let me say that first and foremost, but from your perspective and your feelings, like how did you feel coming out of the coma knowing that this happened to you and that your life would forever be changed from this perspective?
In the beginning, like I wasn't too focused because being in that state of mind, being in the hospital, being in a coma, like at first waking up, I didn't even know I was in an accident. I just woke up in the hospital. It's like 3 months go by and you just wake up in a place and you didn't even know what happened until like obviously there's gonna have nurses and doctors coming in, checking in, like, oh hey Sarah, like you've been in an accident, like are you everything is okay? Like they're gonna check up on you and make sure everything is good
Yeah.
because like you're slowly coming back, you know? So like that being said, in the beginning, I didn't really know what was really going on until I was being reminded, and my mom would come visit me every day and like speak on the situation. But like it's really now, like after like being in a hospital, it's really now that like I'm really like healing from it
Yeah.
and like really acknowledging and accepting this is my reality because it's like in the hospital, everything was being done for me. So like my reality wasn't like I didn't have that reality check as much because I was surrounded with other survivors. I was also with other inpatients. So it's like they don't make you feel indifferent. Whereas like in the real world, you're gonna face other people who are regular or who are gonna look at you a certain way. So I didn't really have that reality check until I left the hospital. So
Yeah.
like, yeah, if that makes sense.
It absolutely does. A lot of what you said makes sense. It definitely, I can completely understand from the way that you explained it, and hearing it from your perspective. So I heard you mention that someone was in the vehicle with you that did not
Mm.
survive.
Yeah.
Um, what was her name? Like, let's keep her alive by her name, because this was not your fault. I heard you mention that you all were hit by a drunk driver, which, by
Yeah.
the way, everybody, that's a PSA within itself. Do not get
Yeah.
behind the wheel and
Yeah.
get drunk, because this is the outcome of what
Yeah.
you could do. So let's not do
You're not,
that.
no, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, you're perfectly good. I'm pretty sure you want to say something to that. That's just
Yeah.
me from this perspective. You're actually living that. So I can imagine how you feel about that. You go ahead and say what you need to say.
I was say that like I agree with you as well. And it's like you're not only putting your life at risk, but you're putting someone else's life at risk. So it's like think twice before you even think of like getting behind the wheel drunk or just under the influence, period, because it's like this could happen to you. Not like you don't have to necessarily be the one who is like injured, but you may cause an incident like this.
Go.
And it's like because people don't deserve, like we were just innocent bystanders just driving to go home. Two
Exactly.
innocent cops. So it's like your actions had a consequence to it. And unfortunately that led my friend Juanita Alejos to pass away and for me to be in critical condition.
Exactly. You said Juanita, what was her last name again?
Alejos.
Alejos.
Yeah.
Yes, let's uplift her name, of course. I'm so sorry. to her family if anyone ever views this video that happened to her. As you said, a young college student that had an up and coming life that she had just started to truly live because you all were college students at the
Yeah,
time.
we're years old, 18 years old on college campus. Who
Um,
would have ever thought us just on our way back home, something like this would happen?
exactly, exactly. So, the thing is that you get to keep her name uplifted because you're
Yes,
still here to tell the story of what happened to you too. Unfortunately, she's not here, but the universe left you here to tell the story about what happened. And you're definitely one that can spread the word to
mm-hmm.
any others that would even think about driving,
Mm-hmm.
because like you said, not only do you put yourself at risk, there are other lives involved when you get on the street. So
Mm-hmm.
it's definitely a serious thing and something that needs to be said. Did the driver, were they injured? Because a lot of times with these accidents, sorry, a lot of times with these accidents, the driver isn't hurt. Unfortunately, I don't want anyone to be hurt, but they chose to get
Yeah.
behind the wheel drunk, and other people suffer the consequences and they walk away with a scratch. In this
Yeah.
particular case, what happened to the driver, and is he or she locked up as they should be?
Like you said, scratch only. Like they was admitted in the same hospital as I was, and they only left with the little scratches and bruises, but that's about it. Like that's about it on their part. Like the whole overall accident, they left with bruises and a couple scratches. They did try to run away. They leave because we're in Georgia, so they did try to like leave Florida, but there was I forgot what it's called when the like they was wanted basically
Okay.
because how something like this and try to run away from it.
That's
So yeah, but justice, I do believe justice will be served. We're still in the process of court and stuff, but they did already have like previous charges, so it's like you're kind of like a known criminal to the system.
Yeah.
So it's like it's not good on your part.
Yeah, 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 and I
Yeah.
and I believe that justice will be served as well. We're gonna think positive when it comes to that, because unfortunately you did the crime, now you need to do the time. That's just the way life works. And you had a choice to say, no, I don't need any more. I'm driving. And
No
so
matter the yeah,
I
because people like use drinking as a reason to bottle up their emotions, their feelings, and then not only that, get behind behind the wheel and try to put someone else's life at risk. It's like you're being selfish at that point because it's like you don't know what it could lead to, and this being done now, you know the consequences. So you just have to pay the consequences.
it's so true. I mean, it's just as simple as that. You have to pay the
Mm-hmm.
consequences. And honestly, you know, if you're going to feel any kind of way, you should feel that way about yourself. And
Yeah.
I mean, it's a decision that you made, and so you make the bed, you lay in it. Like you
Mm-hmm.
said, you live with the consequences of your actions, as we all have to do.
Yeah.
You don't get to flee, you have to deal with it. So did that person, he or she, come? I know you were in the hospital, well, you were in a coma for 7 months, so they probably left.
So I was in coma for the first 3 months, and then I was in rehab.
Ah, okay, okay, that clears things up. All right, so a coma for 3 months, and the rest of the time you were
It
in
was
rehab, just in the hospital.
yeah, inpatient rehab.
Understood, understood. Did that person come and even, not that you were able to accept that at that moment because this changed your life completely, but did that person ever come and try to apologize for their actions to you? Whereas or at least you could have that peace of knowing that this person actually accepts the responsibility of what they've done.
When I was in the hospital, no, they didn't reach out. From what my knowledge is, they didn't reach out. But when I did have court last month, they did apologize. Like there was kind of like this session where like it wasn't the official court, but it was just like a hearing type thing. And it's basically like I'm not too sure because I'm not too much into law, but it was just basically like my lawyer that was there and his lawyer, and then he got to say something, I got to say something, but we're still working towards him being behind bars.
Absolutely.
There.
Absolutely. Now, when it comes to that, how do you feel? Like, have you, now that you're in therapy, I heard you mention therapy, as I'm very happy that you decided to go to therapy, because I can almost assure you that that's needed, because your life has changed from here on out, and you need, you know, I'm pretty sure that through therapy you've learned to accept the fact that this is your new reality. Have you
Yeah.
gotten to a point in your life to free yourself so that you can move forward in life to forgive him? Because I heard you mention him.
Yeah. I feel like I have in the beginning, I was more so like in denial because like I still couldn't believe this is something that happened. Like this is real. Like this is some things like you see on TV, like, oh, okay, like car accident, car explosion. Like I was still in denial in the beginning, but like as I'm going through the healing process and just like taking it day by day, I feel like I've come more to a closure, more necessarily like to heal myself and to forgive myself, as in like me forgiving him.
Yeah.
Because in order to move
Okay.
on, you need to kind of not let go of the past, but not let the past drag you, you know? So in the future, because I don't want my past to define who I want to become in the future. So I've definitely made my bed with that whole situation, but it definitely sometimes make me stay up at night. So
I completely can
it's
understand that.
definitely not easy. Constantly something on my mind because you go like I go in front of the mirror. This is what I'm looking at. This is what the effect of his actions cause. So it's
Yeah.
always like a daily reminder. But at the same time, I'm blessed enough to still be here, regardless of how I look or how regardless of how I am and how I'm doing in my daily basis. It's like I'm living, and I day by day it's gonna get easier.
There
So
you
I've
go.
put it and kind of do my best.
That's what I'm talking about. And that's what I meant when I said you're strong. Because to have gotten to that point, because I mean, it's, I don't care what nobody says. Anybody that's ever been through what you've experienced, you're going to go through that point. I mean, this is the new reality, and this wasn't my choice. This wasn't something that I did. You know, so you're going to go through the emotions and the feelings that you've gone through and still may go through. But at the end of the day, this is my new reality, and I am still here, and I have to find a way to keep moving in life. And so I'm glad that you're getting to that point. um you know, every day is a new day, and you're, you know, you're starting to accept the new reality of what things are each and every day. That doesn't mean that, you know, you're going to have those setbacks, because this is not something that you were born with. This is something that could have been controlled had someone not made a decision to get behind the wheel. So I'm
Mm.
just glad that you are at a point that you know that you're still living. Apparently you have a purpose, because you're still
Yes.
here, you know? And so I'm just thankful that you are able to, not, I don't want to use the word accept, because I'm not going through that. That's a hard thing, but deal with your new
Mm-hmm.
reality and deal with it to the best of your ability. I'm also
Yeah.
thankful that you're going through therapy, because I definitely believe that that's necessary from a
Yeah.
mental perspective. Let's go back a little bit. When was the accident?
March 23rd, 2022.
Oh,
So it's about years in March.
wow, this is really fresh. You're doing a really good job. I
Yeah.
mean, you are really doing a good job pushing forward and still being able to wear a smile on your face. So, what about survivor's remorse? Like, do you ever feel any kind of way that, what was her name again?
Juanita.
Do you ever feel survivor's remorse with the fact that Juanita did not survive and that you did survive?
I'm not gonna say I didn't. I have. It's kind of like a 50-50, like, but it's kind of like why me, but at the same time, why not me? Because at the end of the day, all worthy to still be here. And sometimes it's just like I wouldn't say like I guess it wasn't my time because it wasn't her time either.
Right.
But I know that looking over me and just making sure everything is good and just proud of how far I've come. And I do think about it like, why? But at the same time, I have to know that like God has put me on this earth for a purpose, and He gave me a second chance at life as well. So I'm just trying to do my best and be there for other people as well, because I know like it's not easy for other survivors to speak up on something they went through, and also advocate for anyone who like to stop like drunk driving, because if it had to stop by me, then so be it. Because I don't want this or another family to endure the pain I went through.
Mm-hmm.
Despite whatever, like despite the trauma that came with it, I just wouldn't want this happening to the next. So if it had to stop by me and I had to be the person to advocate for others, then I'm all in for it.
Exactly. And that goes back to, again, while I keep saying why I keep saying I think you're strong, because you're sharing your life. You have a testimony now, and
Yes.
I can only, I know it. I know you were left here, even though you had to go through this, to actually tell your story, to help the next person at this point, to let those who feel like, oh, I'm okay, I'm going to get behind the wheel knowing that I'm drunk, to let them know, don't do it. This is what you could cause. Not only, it's one thing to want to hurt your own self, but think about other people. I didn't ask for this. So I know, and I'm proud of you for being an advocate now to go out and speak and help other people. And I hope that you continue to do that throughout your life, because you definitely are left here for a reason.
Yes.
Now, as far as when you were in a hospital, um, talk about how that went, surgeries, like, because I know you mentioned that you've had to
Yeah.
have several surgeries and skin grafts. Explain
Yeah.
a little bit about that and your experience with that.
Okay. So from my knowledge, from what my mom told me, the first 3 months of me being in a coma, well, the fact that the reason why they put me in induced coma is because they know that with the surgeries I needed to get done, it was gonna be painful. So I had over 30 surgeries in the first 3 months, and it all surrounds itself with skin grafts and amputations, because I did have to have my fingers amputated short because there was an infection growing, and in order to save my life, they had to cut where the infection was like starting and stuff. So I know that had to happen. They was trying to save one hand because it was gonna go up all to my arm. So my mom had like the consent to do it on my behalf because I was in induced coma. So they said if they had kept my fingers, it would go through all my arms, and then they would have to amputate my arm all the way. So my mom took the initiative to just amputate my fingers, get it over with, and just cut off the parts that was infected. So they did it in two separate parts. They did the left hand and then the right hand. And then I know I had skin grafts all throughout my body. Most of them, they reused the skin on my body. So they did a donor site, and basically like they had to send it over at Boston because that's where they do it. So it takes like a month or two to get it processed. So all the skin that wasn't burned, they would like shave it off, send it over in the lab in Boston, and then basically like make holes and stretch it enough for the whole entire body. And it comes in like the surgery is done in different sessions. So it's not something that could be done in one day. So that's why they had to do it in several sessions, which equal to like 30 surgeries while I was hospitalized. And till this day, I'm still having surgeries. I'm currently on like lasers where they help flatten and smooth in the scars and break down the skin grafts all throughout my body. And yeah, most of my surgeries were skin grafts, donor sites, and amputations.
Wow. Now I heard you said skin grafts on the parts of your body that weren't affected. So how,
Yeah,
or what is the percentage of your body that burned?
49% of my body was burned, and it's all spreaded. Like, as you can see here, the inside of my arms wasn't burned, but the outside was. And then same here, like it's just certain sections. And this is basically like a donor site where this wasn't burned. So they take this skin, because it's good skin. They take this skin and then they put on the areas that was burned. So it could like just help savage the body in a sense. And also because I think I wasn't able to do the other type of skin graft where they take skin from like dead people and stuff, like reusable skin, and they couldn't put that on me because I guess I was allergic or I had some type of reaction because of it. So they just used my skin. And yeah, some areas of my body is not burned and they didn't have skin graft. They just used the larger area to like cover up the part that was burned.
Wow.
Yeah.
So do you live in pain daily? Like, do you still feel pain? Because this is pretty fresh.
Yeah. As of now, I don't feel as much pain. It's more like the aftermath of surgeries. But then again, most of my surgeries were when I had while I was in induced coma. So all the pain that I would have felt, I was asleep. So
Thank goodness.
yes.
Thank
But
goodness.
I
Lord.
but they also like prescribed me like pain meds and like just to help me in general with like managing my pain and stuff like that.
With the amputations, how has that been a challenge? Because that's, again, something that it's one thing to go through the burn, you know,
Yes.
um, and then there's another, because we can get over that because it's the physical
Hmm.
features that have changed. But then there's another thing when it comes to amputations, because that's something to get used to because you weren't born. You were born with all of your fingers. So to have
Hmm.
fingers amputated, like how much of a challenge and what are some of the challenges that you've gone through? And again, I can imagine, but it's not from my perspective. So what are some of the challenges that you've gone through with having your fingers amputated?
Overall, just like adapting to my new lifestyle, despite the fact that like I'm well and living, but it's like one thing to be able to like just grab something or just like eat normally because my fingers are amputated short. So just it might take me longer or like I'm just not able to do it. Like it really depends on what it is, but like my lifestyle is pretty simple. Um there's not much I can't do, but at
Yeah.
the same time I have pushed myself to the point where like I'm not put in a position where like I'm not able to do it. Like most of the things at my house I'm able to maneuver on my own.
Yeah.
But it was a big setback in a sense because I did used to play basketball. So I
Yeah.
do plan on playing basketball and I know it's gonna happen one day. But yeah, like my fingers being amputated short kind of like step back that because I used to play basketball, use all 10 of my fingers. Like you said, I wasn't born like this. So it's definitely an adjustment, but I know I'm capable.
There you, man, you just hit the nail on the head with what you just said. There's no stopping you, you know.
Unstoppable.
There you go. I mean, for one thing, the mind works with the body, and yes, we can't ignore the fact that there are going to be challenges now because to not have those fingers, it's not like I said, if you were born that way, it's normal for you. You're used to it. You've learned how to live life that way. This is something new. But with your mental and the way that you're speaking and your tenacity, nothing's going to stop you. Like if you truly want to play ball again, you're going to find a way to do it. Once all of this and you settled in, this is pretty fresh. So once everything is settled in for the most part and you've really gotten back out there, you'll be playing ball again. I'm sorry, not turn, we'll see you or hear from you playing ball again because you're sharing your life with the world. So I'm pretty sure we'll see a video of you. And I know now you got to do it.
Yes.
But you poke it. Now you got to do it. So we would like to see a video one day of you playing basketball again. I love it because I coached basketball. So yeah, that's what's up. I absolutely love it. So from a mental perspective, I already know you're a tough young lady because I can already hear it in you. Just what you just said, we already know you're tough. Like from a mental perspective, like has there ever been a time since this happened that you wanted to give up?
Mm, maybe not give up, but probably like redirect and refocus or maybe restart, because I feel like I went through all this just to give up is, for at least for me, because I know everyone's different, everyone goes through and copes differently, but as of me and how I am, I feel like if God like not left me, but if God gave me a second chance at life, then I'm gonna use it to my best ability despite what happened to me. And yes, it's challenging and it might not be easy, but I feel like I'm too far in to give up. Like it's not that I don't have it in me to give up, because giving up, it's like without trying, at least for me, it's not worth it, because I don't know how to explain it, but I feel like I don't know. I'm not gonna give up just because I'm going through something. And also I'm not gonna let like my past define me, because I feel like I'm like beating the odds because I wasn't supposed to make it. So I just need to keep moving forward, keep my head up high, and trust God, because if He made a way for me today, I know He's gonna make a way for me tomorrow. So I just need to keep moving forward. And yeah.
That just touched my heart. Like you gonna be all right. You're gonna be all right. First of all, you're an athlete. So us athletes have a competitive spirit. Like you're not gonna win. Like I'm going to find a way to be able
Mm-hmm.
to make it through this.
Different from others, but I'm gonna have to adapt myself, adjust myself in order for it to work. That's how
And
I
see,
like
I like it. I like it because what you're doing is taking your situation and not just saying, okay, woe is me, which you could do. And I'm not saying you didn't go through that moment, but after you deal with it and reality has set in that I'm still here, I got to live. Now you
yeah,
start to find a way to push through and you start to look for different ways to succeed and find my next best way so that I can
yeah,
survive and push through. And I know that you won't be all right because I can hear it in your voice. You're not a quitter. And I would like to I hear you mention your mother. And I like to tell you, Mom, that I know you've done a good job with this one. You've done a good job. She's no quitter, which says a lot about you as a parent. Most of it is on you as an individual, but then there's the parent part that instilled this in you. And I'm assuming that that's your mother's a huge support of yours.
yeah,
And I commend her because, as a parent, that's not an easy thing. And even though
yeah.
somebody may say, oh, well, that's her parent, that's what she should do. Yeah, that is what she should do. But as we know,
Not,
more parents do. So I have to commend you, Mom, for being there for her and letting her know that she still has to push through. So I know that you're a support system. So
yeah.
tell me, what
Oh,
made, oh, go ahead.
sorry. I was gonna add, I'm not the only sibling, so because I'm the third out of seven, so I know like my mom. Yeah, my youngest is 10 years old. Like my youngest brother is 10 years old, so I know like as much as I have to be strong for myself, she also has to be strong for me. And that's just because my siblings, she has kids, she has other kids. I'm not the only one she's taking care of. So that being said, like me having to relearn everything, I was literally a baby. Like it felt like I was a baby because I had in the beginning, I had to be fed. My mom had to help me use the washroom, help me shower, help me dress. And now I'm doing all that by myself. So it takes time, but we're getting there.
There you go. There you go. I mean, this is a new life for you. Like you said, it almost is like a baby because
Yeah,
this is not what, like I wasn't born this way. This is a new for me. It's not even something that I asked to have, but it is what it is, and I have to find a way to survive. So the fact that your mother has taken the time, knowing she has a 10-year-old that actually needs to still be a child, you're her adult child. I mean, the fact that she's still there nurturing and helping and guiding you along again from that baby perspective or that child like perspective and new reality says a lot about her as a mommy. So I
yeah,
have to her, because we need more mothers like that. Just be
Yeah.
there for their child. We got to be there for our kids through anything. With everything that you've been through and, um, your new reality, what made you decide after you've gone through all of this to up and start sharing your new life? Because you're young, so you may have already been on TikTok. I'm an old fart, but you're young. What made you start to share your new reality with TikTok before you answer? Because this is a this can be, I don't want to say this is, because there are a lot of good people out in this world or in this world, but there are also a lot of cruel people in this world that can look at you and know that this is not the way you were born, this is not something you asked for, but they can just be mean and just say the most ignorant stuff, which I don't understand. But I know that those people have a problem with themselves. With all of that, knowing how the world can be, what made you decide to share your new life or your new reality? Because it's the same life, your new reality, the world.
Um, I think I just decided to share my story or to share my new life or whatever you want to call it, because I know there's other people out there that are not like that, are too scared or don't have the strength to speak up for themselves. And I've always been the type of person to like, either like friend wise or family wise, always been the type of person to like be there for my friends. And this is funny because my major is psychology, and I always thought of like helping others, whether it's like mentally or anything that could help them move forward and not dwell on the past. So I feel like it's kind of like a blessing in disguise. So I feel like it comes hand in hand because I like to help others. I like to let other people know that you are more than what your current situation is or what you got going on. You are more than capable of accomplishing whatever, as long as you put your mind to it and you believe in yourself. You need to believe in yourself and also trust God that He's going to lead you in the right direction. So I've always thought that putting myself out there, despite how the world can be, is just not only for educational purposes, but for myself as well, because I'm not only spreading awareness, but I'm also spreading positivity and letting other people know that, like, despite I'm like this, I still want more for myself. And not only that is like I don't want to be like the sad story, the girl that was in a car accident, caught on fire, and no one knows about her. Like I want to be the person that, despite this happening to her, she still like shines despite it all. Like, because I know there is light at the end of the tunnel. So despite the rocky roads we might go into, I feel like I'm a good example, and I'm also a walking testimony to those that might want to give up or thinking of giving up and looking at me and just be like, damn, like even though I'm not in this type of state, I'm still able, I'm moving. I like my fingers are not amputated. I didn't experience something like as tragic as she, but she's still going. So I feel like I want to be that type of influence to others to keep moving forward and know that nothing is limited. You know, you just got to put your mind to it, time, effort, energy, and go for it. I feel like that's one of the main reasons why I decided to even like start broadcasting my story and just sharing my journey with everyone, because like as I'm gonna go, like my platform is growing, I feel like I'm more than just a burn survivor. I feel like there's more to it in life and in my situation, and I could use that. I could use what I went through in a positive manner and share with the world. So I feel like that was one of my main goals and purpose, and also help others who feel like they don't have a voice for themselves, or even be a guide, or not just that person you can lean on or look over and be like, okay, let me do this. You know, like, I don't know. I just feel like I always like helping others. So I feel like this is a good way to not only engage with others, but also like gain genuine support as well.
Yeah, you know.
So
You said it right. Oh, you know.
Yeah.
You got it. You got it. And you're going to do it. And I know you are. I hear it in you. I heard you, when you said, I heard you earlier say you were a psychology major. And I do believe that, I'm not going to say that this was per se meant, but this is your new reality. And I do believe you do go hand in hand. The fact that you were majoring in psychology and this did happen to you.
And I it does happen for a reason. Like,
you believe that.
Despite the good or the bad, I'm still able to look at the situation and come out stronger than how I entered it. So I just a blessing in disguise. Like, despite the bad things happening, I know there's good to come.
Absolutely. My cord is not in my bag. My laptop is going to go to sleep. But I have so much that I wanted to say in reference to that statement that she just made. If this laptop is not about to die, but you got this. Your focus, your physical being, you're in the right place. You're definitely in the right place. Before my laptop dies, because I'm so mad that I don't have my cord. Forgive me, everyone, and you, Sarah. Tell everyone where they can follow you, all of your information. And before you do so, you just heard her. She deserves our support, not because she's a burn victim, by no means, because see, she's not on a pity party. I say that because she deserves our support because of who she is and where she's going in life and what she stands for and what she represents as a strong Black woman out here doing her thing. And I want all of my people, all of you all, follow her, please. So tell everybody all of your social media information and where they can follow you.
Yeah, so everyone can follow me both on Instagram or TikTok, Burn Diaries 22. And that's basically my platform where I'll be journaling my journey and just taking you guys on with me. And soon in the works, maybe YouTube, we're going to see. But as of now, TikTok and Instagram.
And I'm talking about, y'all support this young Black woman doing the damn thing. So I want to let you know that I thank you for joining me. But before I even let you go, I got one last question.
Go ahead.
Promise me to always spread peace and love in this world.
Yes.
I already know you will.
I promise.
I believe it. I believe it. You're already doing that. I see your page and I see you. You are being seen and heard, and you will continue to have my support along the way in your life. I will continue to follow you and watch and engage, like, love. So I'm here for you. And I do want to thank you so much for joining me. I really, really appreciate you.
I'm glad to be here today, and I'm glad that you welcome me. And I'm just hoping this touches the right audience or just anyone in general, and think twice about drunk driving, and also just be mindful of your surroundings. You never know what someone might be going through. They might not be physically injured, but internally we all go through things. So just be kind, spread peace, love, and it's a new year. Let's enjoy it.
Right, that's right.